All right, so we're doing a black stonefly, black early black stonefly. So there's a lot of, this time of year, a lot of different black stoneflies out. They're usually pretty tiny. The largest ones is called the early black stonefly. It's about a 16 to 14. We're going to do a 14 as your first one. Once you get the hang of this, go home, do some 16s. It's a little closer to the natural. They're hatching now. They started early this year. So, you know, a lot of people pay attention to Punxsutawney Phil, Flores. Watch for the black stoneflies. They will tell you if we're going to have an early spring or not. And they've been out late February.
64 degrees this Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's sunny.
So, you know, they crawl out on the larger waters. They actually will. They get caught in the current and they'll come out, emerge midstream. They hatch, come back as an adult, just like caddisflies and mayflies, lay their eggs. So this class we're doing the nymph. Really effective this time of year. So you guys if you guys got your hooks and your vise and your thread out, we got to coat that hook. So you guys, as you're listening or watching, you kind of get your hook coated. Oh, yeah, black thread. Yeah, I should have said that. Using black thread. 8/0. So we're using 8/0 because it's a smaller fly. 6/0 or 140 is going to build up too much bulk for the amount of wraps we're going to need. The 8/0 uni, it's round. So it's, you know, got a lower profile, you know, compared to, you know, the flat thread. If you want to coat your thread and you like, it's nice with flat thread, just give your bobbin a counterclockwise twist looking down. It'll kind of flatten the thread. And then wind it back up when you're done. I think I'm going to use these. Let me see. Get these off. These were skips. He hated them. At least I'll be able to tell if I'm at the back. So the first material we're going to put on are goose biots. And readily available at fly tying stores. You can find them at Joann Fabrics. The feather, if you look on the bottom of these feathers, you'll see that they're long and wide. And as you get towards the tip, they get smaller and narrower. So, you know, for smaller flies, we use these feathers. For larger flies, you know, we use these bottom ones. This is a 14, so we're going to be a little bit towards the top, you know, about here. You take that and you want to get out 2. And this is the tails. I can't even see that. Let me look here.
Did you know Joann Fabrics is closing?
Yes, I do. And their sales, it's what? Yeah, but I mean, the prices weren't. I thought it was going to be really great prices, but not. So okay, so I got 2 biots here. Put them down on your table. Maybe I only got 1 here. Yeah, it looks like the other one fell. Tell you what, if you're going to do 2 flies, just cut off 4 right now. Just don't lose them on your table.
They're very slippery.
Yes. There we go. But you want to get 2 next to each other so you have the same size. So now with these biots, I don't know if you can zoom in a little bit here, and I can show, maybe I put a background here. It's like these biots have a slight curvature to them. Okay, this one, there's a slight curvature out to your left, my right on this, ever so slight. You got to keep that in mind. We're going to tie this so the tips of the tails are curving away from the fly. You know, one's going to be towards you, the near side, the far side is going to be away from you. The length of this, so we're going to do the rear side first. And it's roughly the length of the shank. No more, maybe a little less. You don't want these too long. So I kind of measure it. I'm going to put it right up here. Right, I'm going to advance my thread back to where I need to be. And let me sure do this. So that's about like that. And I'm going to try to tie these along the side of the shank, not overly tight. If I were to crank down on this thread and really tighten it, it's really going to split wide, almost 90 degrees to the hook. So watch your tension. And I'll just tie the rest of that down. And I'll grab my second one. This is a lot easier. If you're going side to side, it's a lot easier doing them one at a time than trying to get them both and manage. So you try to even these tips up. I'm just going to use my finger right here. Get that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to go back. And hopefully, there we go. Just tie the rest of that down. Let's see. Ah. I'm going to split this little. Sometimes you just need to squeeze. There we go. So, I guess you can see how they're split and curved away from each other. Yeah.
Go ahead. From behind. There you go.
Okay. If now this one's maybe not quite as split, I can wrap a thread behind it and just pull till I get it right in position and add a couple of wraps, but I'm pretty good. So the next thing we're going to do is put on ribbing wire. And we're using fine silver. This is, what is it, UTC extra small. If I was doing a size 12, I might use regular small instead of extra small. And I'm going to tie this, get tied on the bottom or the side of the hook. Get that tag in down. And I'm going to wrap this back right up to, here, maybe this will help. There we go, a little bit. Right up to the base of the tail. And now I'm just going to get this out of the way. So the next step is we're doing a wing case / shell back. The whole back's going to be covered with the goose feather. You can use, like, you got turkey bites, you got the bite side, and you got the long side. Those are nice because they're pretty strong. Normally what I use is goose wing quill. These are shoulders. It's because I couldn't find dark enough goose wing quills for this fly. But this is fine. It's a smaller fly. I kind of like it because it kind of compresses better. A little actually more manageable. So how much do we want? I go to the long side, and I want about roughly a hook's gap thick. And then I actually will draw a little more, and then I can weed a couple out off the ends. Cut it right against the stem. Try to keep them parallel. There we go. And so we're going to tie these in more on the tip section. It's really fine up at the front. So if you got long, fine feathers, you know, you want to maybe tie a little more tip off, but leave yourself enough for the length of fly and a handle. This I'm going to tie short a little bit. And I'm going to tie these on top the hook. And I'm going to try to get this to lay flat. You want this laying flat on top the hook shank. So, yep, that one got away, so I'm just going to slow down a little bit. Wind that back. There we go. So we got the hook. We did the tails, the wire, then the goose feather. So now we got to do we've got to do the abdomen and the thorax. Thorax is where the legs are. It's wider. The abdomen on these stoneflies are relatively thin. You know, we're almost pretty much tying a hare's here with the shells back. So we have options here. This normally calls for hare's mask or hair, spiky fur. But on these stoneflies, they're a little thinner on the back, so I don't use, you know, hare's ears got the guard hairs in it. Rabbit dubbing is finer under fur. I use that for the abdomen. And so I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to do kind of a thin noodle, thin, uniform. Try to even that out a little bit. Push that, here, work this thread back. There we go. And now that first wrap, yeah, it's a little better. And so I'm just working a slight taper up. About there. So now we dub the abdomen, and I'm going to come back with my wire, and I'm going to palmer or open spiral. It's probably going to take about maybe six wraps. Start one at the back, work your way up. It's kind of going to sink in here. That's good. Tie that off. And I'm just going to kind of bend this back. Cut it right here and bend that back a little bit. And now I'm going to build up the thorax area.
And as you see, don't crowd the eye.
No.
Leave some bare shank there.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this goose and get it flat, get these feathers aligned. As we were to goose wing quills a little better. I mean, it's stiffer, it'll stay aligned, but this isn't bad. Just got to be a little careful. And you kind of pull, kind of tight. Just put a loose wrap over the top, check it, make sure everything's right on top. I'm going to pull down right there. My eyes are just shot today, Ben. Right there. Okay. So we pretty much have the abdomen done. Actually, the abdomen is done. Now it's going to be we're going to take this, we're going to use this as a wing case. So now I'm going to pull it back, keep it flat. And wrap it back to the abdomen. Maybe that's a little too far. Yeah, that looks good. And now that's out of the way. Next, we're going to add legs, and that's going to be a saddle hackle or a soft hackle. If you don't have that, just use, a stiff dry fly hackle. It's hard to find small soft hackles that's not too webby. Like a hen would be too webby. So these are from a dry fly saddle, but they're on the back of the saddle, and these actually work pretty good. I just picked them all out for you guys. We're going to tie this. So there's a concave and a convex side. We want it cupped towards the fly. I'm going to pull off a couple of barbs. Tie that so the barbs begin right at the wing case. Tie that in, out of the way. Is that okay? So, I don't know. We're kind of there now. All right, next step is the thorax. So I'm going to go either use black or dark hare's ear or dark gray hare's ear dubbing. Well, doesn't have much guard hair in it, but it's got some. It's going to be spikier. And now, you don't want to go real thick with this gray, or it actually makes it too light in color. Keep it thin, and the thread will kind of show through it a little bit. So we're going to create a thorax, and it's probably going to take me like right up against that, back. Right there. Now, we're going to hackle in some legs, which is just a couple of turns. We're going to do one completely around the back of the thorax against this wing case. Kind of work it to the middle and to the front, and that's it. Secure that. Clip out the tag end. So guys can see that. Is that better if I? Okay. Now, we're going to put the wing case on, but before we put the wing case on, we got to give it a haircut. So we're going to cut off anything that's above the back of the fly gets cut off. A couple there. And I'm going to kind of hold this back, and we're going to take this material, take your thumb, flatten it behind, and then take it behind the eye, drop your thread, look around, we got to drop my thread, secure it, pull that back. I'm going to get that little straggler out of here. And we're just about done. So now, stoneflies at the front have little pinchers. So you could take some of these biots, 2 on each, and do little pincers, but I'm not going to go through that. It's small fly, but we can actually and if you got good eyesight, you take these few that are off on the near side and pull them back. Then I take the ones that are like a few on the right side. Two. Yeah. And pull those back if I can get myself right there. And then tie off or snip off the center. Now, they're not going to end up being this long, and I don't know, here, my tail, just got to kind of bend those back out of the way. All right, so now I'm going to whip pinch. I would do it by hand, but I'll end up fraying the thread. 1, 2, oops. This is where if you learn a hand whip, I could have cut that off now, but I kind of, so now what I'm going to do for the pincers, I'm going to take this, I'm going to pull these forward and just past the hook eye, I'll snip and I got my little pincers. Use the shellback. So, where is a bodkin? I don't know what I did. Let me get these tails. There we go. So it looks pretty shaggy. But we're not done. Next thing I'm going to do is flatten the bottom. Not completely up against the fly, but I'm going to clip out and get some of that done. Now what I could do, I could pick out some of this dubbing and give this fly a little more life. Or if you got a small dubbing brush, which I got here somewhere, piece of Velcro on a stick, you can do that. And then lastly, head cement. So I'm going to put some on that back and my finishing knot. And then I'll see if I could stick these pincers together. Let me see, where are my glasses? I got to do something with these eyes, man. It is just getting. That's it. Now this it's a shaggy looking fly. Really effective on the black stones. This is like the best pattern I've fished. You could do this with the bead. If you do it with the bead, don't worry about the thorax. Just tie the back, use a shell back. Again, you could actually, if you got a bunch of these old.
Use a black bead?
You could use a black bead or gunmetal, kind of. I just use a gold one. It's superstitious. But for a shellback, if you've got good fingers and good eyesight, you could actually just take a couple of these bottom biots here and do it behind the bead as a shell back. Gives it a little bit of a shiny, big, but
Or a drop of UV.
yeah. My pincers didn't come out all that great. Usually if you get some glue and hold it together, they all stick together. But it's a pretty shaggy,
Buggy looking fly.
buggy looking. I got my tails tangled up, but it almost twisted together in a knot. I can't see, dude. Let me see. Try this. There we go.
All right.
And now since I could see, I'm going to kind of, neaten this up a little bit. Get those off. That's it. So get these admin, get that nice and tight. That wire will show through a little bit better. I just couldn't see, but that's it. Get to work, guys.